Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in this video, I'm going to be doing my Overlay DFS Matchup Shop Picks for the week. I'm going to be talking about each and every single pick between the player versus player matchup and talk about which guy I like, which ones I don't like, maybe some picks that I just feel indifferent on. I want to know your guys' opinion down below, but more than anything, I want you guys to come on here and play with me. It's fun. You don't have to put in a shit ton of money just to win money. You don't even have to deposit a lot. You can just have a nice, fun time. Maybe bet $1 on each and every single matchup, and you can come out of the week winning big just based upon maybe my picks, or you take your own advice. You feel a little different than me, and it's a good exercise here as well for learning how I feel about each and every single fantasy football player for the week. I'm going to explain in a second exactly how it works. When I show it to you, it'll be much easier to understand than reading a bunch of text. So it works right here. The football scoring is passing touchdown is 4 points per passing touchdown. Every passing yard is 0.04 points. Interception is -2. A rushing touchdown is 6 points. Every rushing yard is 0.1 point. A receiving touchdown is 6 points. A reception is 0.5 points. Punt, kickoff, field goal return is 6 points. 2 points for fumble loss. Extra points, obviously 2 point for 2-point conversion. And then a fumble recovery is 6 points. And then it is also PPR on here. 1 point, not 1 point, it's actually 0.5 points per reception. So it's half point PPR here on Overlay. So now I'm going to hit you guys real quick with the games. When you get on the main page, there's also progressive bonus tournaments, which are also very fun. But here we're going to be talking about the match up shop. We're going to navigate here to NFL. Now, the lines will move just like in real gambling. The amount of people going one way might shift the odds to the other. So I'm going to be talking about it based on the odds that are available here, and then give kind of my opinion on if the line was to change, if I would still pick each guy. So right here we got Lamar Jackson going up against Russell Wilson in this matchup. We got Lamar going up against the Cleveland Browns and Russell Wilson going up against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I feel very comfortable that both of these guys in fantasy football will have very good games, but 6.5 points is a lot to give up. But I could really see Lamar Jackson going absolutely ham-bony and destroying the Cleveland defense. So in this game here between Russell Wilson and Lamar Jackson, I probably would not bet it, if I'm being completely honest with you. I just feel like this one is going to be very, very close when it comes down to it, because how it works is you're losing 6.5 points on Lamar fantasy points wise, but you'd be gaining plus 6.5 to Russell Wilson's total. So it's pretty much like gambling when you're picking a spread pick. It's like just like a spread pick, but it's with fantasy football points. So I'd say this is a no-go, but if I was actually going to bet it, I think Lamar will probably just end up destroying the Browns, so I'd probably take Lamar Jackson, but that's just a slight lean. Next game here, we got Dak up against Matt Ryan. I feel a lot more confident in this pick. I love Dak Prescott going up against Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons. Now, Dak Prescott's playing up against the LA Rams on Sunday night. Matt Ryan playing up against Russell Wilson. Now, I think both these guys could have great games. I have them both ranked inside of my top 5 on the week, but you're giving 0 points either way. So this is like a money line pick. I'm going straight up on Dak Prescott here. I really think Dak is going to have a phenomenal game on Sunday going up against the LA Rams. Sure, his number 1 wide receiver in Amari Cooper will probably get locked down by Jalen Ramsey, but at the end of the day, I don't think that matters all too much. I think there's too many firepower pieces on that offense for him to get beat out by Mr. Matthew Ryan on the week. The next matchup here, we got Josh Allen going up against Big Ben Roethlisberger. My vibe on this one personally is that it's not even close. If I'm being completely honest with you, I really like Josh Allen far more than Big Ben. Now, Josh Allen's playing up against the Jumbo Jets, and Big Ben is playing up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So obviously, there's opportunity. No, he's on the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's playing up against the New York Football Giants. So obviously, there's the opportunity for Big Ben to slap up the New York Football Giants, but the thing that I think is if they get up by a bunch, they'll probably just keep handing the ball to James Conner, whereas Josh Allen will still try to make plays with his arm. I like Josh Allen to brutally destroy Big Ben. I have Big Ben as top 12, ranked like 10 to 12. I have Josh Allen inside of the top 6 or 7 on the week, so I really would prefer Josh Allen in this matchup, and he would be my pick between Allen and Big Ben. Next game up on the slate, the next players, Matty Snapback versus Cam Newton. To me, this one is also kind of a no bet. New England playing up against my Miami Dolphins. Stafford playing up against the Chicago Bears without Kenny Golladay. I just feel like with the +0 here, I feel like Cam Newton may end up scoring more points. I do think Matt Stafford will at the end of the day, so he would be my lean, but I would say that's a no bet for me. Next here, we got Danny Dimes going up against Phillip Rivers, and here I feel like Phillip Rivers is going to easily be able to outscore Danny Dimes, but the worry is that that Daniel Jones just throws like 2 touchdowns in complete and utter garbage time, where Phillip Rivers is just handing the ball to Jonathan Taylor and Marlon Mack repeatedly, because they're up by so much, and they have a good offensive line. My lean here, I would actually lock this in. I would go with Phillip Rivers over Danny Dimes. For this week, for the future, Danny Dimes probably going to be much better quarterback than Phillip Rivers for fantasy football, but for the week, I like Phil the Thrill Rivers. Next matchup, we got Ryan Tannehill going up against Gardner Minshew, and here I see another scenario where there's just one player definitely better than the other, and that is Jacksonville Jaguars Gardner Minshew over Ryan Tannehill. I think Ryan Tannehill is going to be fine up against the Denver defense, but I think the Denver defense may be a little too strong for Ryan Tannehill to score like 25 plus points, where I could see Gardner Minshew getting into a big garbage time scenario up against Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts, just throwing dimes out there. Plus, he has that rushing upside, and Ryan Tannehill's kind of upside is kind of capped by the fact that Derrick Henry could just score 5 touchdowns every single game. Now, he's not going to actually score 5 touchdowns, but cap Ryan Tannehill's touchdown total, so I like Minshew in that one. Right here, we got If I Die, I Die, Kirk Cousins versus the Heisman, Joe Burrow. Now, this, again, here, it is +0. The last couple of ones have been pretty much money line here, if you want to think of it that way. I like Joe Burrow and Kirk Cousins this week. I mean, Kirk Cousins is safe. Joe Burrow more risky. Joe Burrow definitely has the potential to be the better guy. As a guy that likes to take risks, I like Joe Burrow here. I think Kirk Cousins versus Aaron Rodgers is going to be a very run-heavy attack, whereas I think Joe Burrow is going to have to be throwing this ball up against the LA Chargers defense. The Chargers did end up losing Derwin James in the offseason. While they still have a great defense, I could see Joe Burrow really demolishing Kirk Cousins in the point total, so I'm going to go with him. Probably the most risky pick here that I've talked about, but I like Mr. Joey B. Next game here, on one that I see again as like, I'm just seeing the board here. I'm seeing like a goddamn sharp. Baker Mayfield is going to get clapped by Jared Goff. Baker Mayfield going up against the Baltimore Ravens. Their defense is very good. Cleveland Browns are going to be looking to run the rock early and often in this game. They just are. They're going to be running the ball a lot. Even if they are down, I think they're going to try to run the ball a lot. So I think Baker Mayfield is going to be a wash here. Jared Goff is going to have a great game up against the Dallas Cowboys. That, to me, is an excellent pick. Also, I forgot to mention, if you pick multiple guys and you want to put them on as they're both going to score, you get better odds if you think they're both going to hit in a parlay, just like you can do on sportsbooks. Next one here, we got Christian McCaffrey out of Ezekiel Elliott. To me, this is one where I love Zeke +7. I think this matchup is great up against the Rams for Zeke to have a great game, and you're getting the extra 7 points. I feel like, but the problem is you never want to undermine Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey's playing up against the Las Vegas Raiders. He could absolutely demolish the Raiders, stomp them out, and murder them and leave them for dead. So that's entirely possible. But I'm going to go with Zeke plus the 7 points. I feel pretty strong on that one. Next game here, we got Dalvin Cook versus Devonta Adams. Dalvin Cook getting -1 here. Devonta Adams getting the +1. To me, I don't really have a lean on this one. I think Devonta Adams will score less points because Dalvin Cook is going to be the guy hammering the rock because they're going to run the ball a lot. But all it takes is a couple of passes from Aaron Rodgers to Devonta Adams, who he's going to feed in the game to beat out Dalvin Cook. In half PPR, I love Dalvin Cook, but at the end of the day, I think that Devonta Adams may squeak him out. So I'm just going to go ahead and not bet this one. I feel like it's going to be a little too close for comfort. Next up, we got Derrick Henry up against Julio Jones. Derrick Henry up against the Broncos. Julio Jones up against the Seattle Seahawks. Now here, we have a case of my own mind getting to me. Recently, in the past 2 years, Derrick Henry has really struggled early in the season. But is that because Mariota was there? Or is it because he struggles before it gets cold? Is it? So I don't know. Because Tannehill's now the starter, and he did really good with Ryan Tannehill. So it's kind of a bit of a mind-like thing to get over. I'm going to go ahead here and say this is a no bet for me as well. I don't feel ultra confident in Derrick Henry beating out Julio, and I also feel like there's going to be super close, that with the +0, with it straight up, I don't feel confident enough to pick either guy. Next up here, we got Mr. Adam Thielen over Mr. Jimenez James Conner in Pittsburgh. Amazing matchup for him. Not so good matchup for Green Bay, or for Adam Thielen playing against Green Bay, but at the end of the day, you have Adam Thielen who's going to get force-fed the ball by Kirk Cousins. But then you have James Conner, and I'd go with James Conner here. I would lean him ever so slightly, beating out Adam Thielen. This one's going to be close, but I like James Conner up against the Giants to score a couple of touchdowns, really blow away the haters, the people that hate James Conner, and for him to silence them. So I'm going to go with Conner there, but it is very close. Next matchup here, we got Joseph Mixon going up against Aaron Jones. Now, I said it was going to be a run-heavy attack from Green Bay. And I think that Joe Mixon and the Cincinnati Bengals are going to have to throw the ball. But given the extra half a point, I think it may end up mattering. And I think if the coaches didn't lie to us, if the owners weren't being fugazi, they weren't lying to us, it's a fugazi, it's a fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy, Joe Mixon is going to be involved in the pass-catching game. Joe Mixon is going to dominate in this game up against the LA Chargers. I believe that. I love Joe Mixon, though. This is coming from, I probably should buy a shirt that says I love Joe Mixon. I also love Overlay DFS. They could both be on my shirt at the same time. With that said, I would take Joe Mixon, but that's coming from Joe Mixon's #1 fan. So you can take that as you will. Next game here, A-Rob versus Kenny Golladay. And this one's going to get taken off the board because Kenny Golladay is likely going to miss the game. So if you bet on it, you get your money back. You can go back in there. They want to make sure they don't screw you over. If a guy gets hurt before the game starts, then the game doesn't even end up happening. If they get hurt during the game, though, it's a different story. Nick Chubb versus Kenyon Drake is the next one here. Both guys, I love Kenyon Drake because Kenyon Drake eviscerated San Francisco. Nick Chubb going to get the ball a lot up against a tougher Baltimore Ravens defense, though. But then again, Kenyon Drake's playing San Francisco. I think this is going to be a little too close for comfort. I would not bet it. Next one here, Keenan Allen versus Stefan Diggs. To me, this is all Keenan Allen. Stefan Diggs playing up against the New York Football Jets, and I would not be surprised if he beat him. But the Chargers are playing up against the Bengals defense, so I don't really see how Keenan Allen could get outscored by Stefan Diggs. Obviously, aside from Josh Allen just heaving the ball like 70 yards down the field and he scores a touchdown, because that's entirely possible, but I like Allen in that matchup. Here we got Locket versus Gurley. Locket getting minus a point or minus half a point. Gurley getting plus half a point. This is another one that I don't love. I love Locket actually in fantasy for this week, but the problem with Todd Gurley is I don't know what's going to happen with him. I really don't. There's like a scenario where he gets 25 touches, scores a touchdown, and gets like 100 yards. There's also a scenario where he gets like 10 touches and doesn't do anything. So with that said, I'd probably vote on the side of caution and not take it. Once we have a better idea about Gurley, is no one really going to know if we're going to be hammering Gurley in this? He's going to be looking really good. Or maybe avoid Todd Gurley in this. If you guys are new, if you guys are here from Overlay, you really like watching the videos, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it because we eat W's here on Overlay. So I hope you guys do end up enjoying this. Next up, we got Juju Smith-Schuster going up against Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders with the leg injury. This is one you wait till Sunday. If Miles Sanders is not fully healthy, you take Juju and you run to the bank with it. If Miles Sanders seems like he's good to go, doesn't seem like there's going to be any restrictions, I'm probably not going to bet this because I think that the Washington football team has a good enough defense to stop Miles Sanders, but I don't know how good Juju is going to be because I worry about Big Ben. So that would be a no bet for me. Chris Carson versus Calvin Ridley. This is a lock. It's going to be Calvin Ridley. I love Chris Carson, but Calvin Ridley on that high-flying offense is going to eviscerate Chris Carson. They're going with the hot hand approach in Seattle, which means it's going to be Chris Carson every single time. But at the end of the day, I think Calvin Ridley is going to play much better than him, and I'm going to go with him in half PPR. Next up here, we got Julian Edelman versus Devonta Parker. Now, as a Dolphins fan, I'm going to tell you guys, I like Julian Edelman better in this matchup. I worry about Stefan Diggs getting that revenge and completely locking up Devonta Parker. Devonta Parker slapped him up a couple of times last year, pretty much hit him with the deuces when that one game behind him, week 17. He destroyed Stefan Diggs, made Stefan Diggs his son, but now, not Stefan Diggs, Stephon Gilmore, but now I worry that Julian Edelman may be better, but Julian Edelman also hurt, so that could get taken off the board if he doesn't play. I'd probably lean Julian Edelman, though, if he plays. Next up here, we got a question that is actually coming a lot from my fans. My subscribers, my friends. I love you all. Tyler Boyd versus James White. I like Tyler Boyd in this matchup, even up against a tougher defense over James White. I think these guys are both super safe options in fantasy. I would take Tyler Boyd minus half a point, but I don't feel ultra confident. Next one here, Jarvis versus Odell. This is one, again, you got to monitor. If Jarvis is 100% and is ready to go, I'm starting him over Odell. I personally believe he wipes his ass with Odell. I bet Odell would like that. So with that said, I would go ahead and go with Jarvis Landry, but that's a wait till Sunday type of move. Mark Andrews versus Zach Ertz. Losing half a point for Mark Andrews, gaining half a point for Zach Ertz. This is a no bet here, too close in my rankings for comfort. Next one, T.Y. Hilton versus Emmanuel Sanders. I'm taking Emmanuel Sanders here and running to the bank because I don't think T.Y. Hilton is going to do much in this game. I just don't. But he's probably the safer pick. So I'm going to be risky. I am a bit of a risky gambler, so I'd go with Sanders there. The safer option, probably T.Y. Hilton. Next, Le'Veon Bell versus John Brown. I don't understand how this is even a question. It is going to be Le'Veon Bell. This is a half PPR format. Le'Veon Bell is going to get a million dump-offs from Sammy Mano. John Brown, no longer the wide receiver one of the Buffalo Bills. Sure, all it takes is one Josh Allen huge arm play for Josh Allen to end up beating out Le'Veon Bell. But I'm going to bode the side of caution and go with Le'Veon. Next pick here, Mark Ingram versus Philip Lindsay. This is going to be a murder by the hands of Mark Ingram. Taking that by a million times over Philip Lindsay. Next game here, Devin Singletary versus Marlon Mack. This one's very close. This one will be a no bet for me because Marlon Mack is going to get a lot of opportunity up against the Jaguars. But what happens if they're playing JT a lot? Devin Singletary has a lot of opportunity. Both these guys are kind of stuck in the same scenario where they have two backs behind them that I believe are better than them, but are going to get the most looks in the game. If Devin Singletary gets vultured, Marlon Mack probably wins. If Marlon Mack gets vultured and JT scores, Devin Singletary probably wins. So I'd probably just go ahead and not pick anything in that. Kareem Hunt versus Matt Breida. I already bet this. I love Kareem Hunt here over Matt Breida. I don't even know how this is close. +0 for Kareem Hunt, +0 for Matt Breida. This is just a complete and utter lock for me. This is the one I feel most confident in. I think Kareem Hunt's going to get a lot of dump-offs. This is a half PPR format. I don't think Matt Breida is ultra involved since they're going to want to pound the rock, and you pound the rock with Jordan Howard, not with Matthew Breida. Right here, we got Aaron Rodgers versus Kirk Cousins. Same game again. I'm locking in here, or this is the same game here. I like Aaron Rodgers much better than Kirk in this game, so I'd go with him even at -2. Right here, Tyrod Taylor versus Drew Lock. This is just Tyrod Taylor to me. Tyrod has the really easy matchup against the Bengals. Drew Lock playing up against a much tougher secondary in the Tennessee Titans, so I'd lean Tyrod. George Kittle versus Austin Eckler. That one's really tough. That one's a no bet because Kittle's playing against a really easy defense in Arizona. Eckler playing against the easy defense in the Bengals, so I don't feel confident enough to really call that one. AJ Green versus Sterling Shepard. This is one where there's no assessment to be made on this one. This one is going to be completely luck. You're better off just labeling AJ Green heads, Sterling Shepard tails, and flipping a coin and then putting your money on that one because I really have no read on it. AJ Green could be great, but he could still be hurt. Sterling Shepard could be great, or the Steelers defense completely locks him down. Next one, Hunter Henry versus Evan Ingram. I like Henry against the Bengals much better than Evan Ingram up against the Steelers defense. Drew Brees versus Tom Brady. You're giving Tom +2.5. I like Brees as my top 3 quarterback on the week. I like Brady as a top 5 guy. Wouldn't be too surprised if Brady ended up beating him straight up. So I'd probably bet Brady. But I think that's another one I wouldn't look for. Kyler Murray versus Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, this is disrespecting Jimmy Garoppolo by giving him +4. I honestly thought this would be much closer, maybe a +1.5 type of deal. So I'm not going to be betting this because I think Kyler Murray finishes with more points because I wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy Garoppolo just hands the ball off instead of throwing touchdowns. So I probably wouldn't pick that one. Michael Thomas versus Saquon Barkley. +4.5 for Saquon, -4.5 for Michael Thomas. Another one where it's a wash. Saquon playing up against a tougher defense. Michael Thomas going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If I had to lean it, I'd go Saquon +4.5. Next one here, Alvin Kamara versus Chris Godwin. This is one where you wait till Sunday to figure out if Evans is in or not. If Evans is in, I would go ahead and go Kamara. If Evans is not in, I'm leaning Chris Godwin. Mike Evans versus Cooper. Obviously, this one's by far and away the easiest pick. It's Mike Evans if he plays. If he doesn't play, then the thing gets taken off. Robert Woods versus Cooper Kupp. I like Woods over Kupp. We saw last season when they committed to the 2 tight end stretch after the bye, the 2 tight end set after the bye. Robert Woods was eating breakfast while Cooper Kupp was kind of just sleeping. But Cooper Kupp didn't play all that bad, but I think I like Bobby Trees here. Cam Akers versus Michael Gallup. This is another really tough one. Really, really tough. Darrell Henderson's going to play. Give me Michael Gallup plus the 1 point. Tyler Higbee versus Blake Jarwin. I like Tyler Higbee here by a mile, -0.5. That's easy. That's a top 10 tight end. That's a guy that could be a top 10 tight end, but much more risky. CeeDee Lamb versus Josh Reynolds. This is like Josh Reynolds could randomly score a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb could randomly score a touchdown. I'd go with CeeDee Lamb. And then A.J. Brown versus Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton's likely not going to play. So that matchup is likely not going to happen. So now we're going to scroll up here and pick the ones that I'm most confident in and put my money where my mouth is. So we're going to go all the way up to the top here and make our picks. Let's see here. So I didn't feel super confident in Lamar versus Russ, so we're not going to pick that one. Dak versus Ryan. I like Dak, so we're going to mark him down there. I liked Allen much more than Big Ben. I liked that one I didn't feel super confident in. I liked Minshew. I liked Burrow, but no, I'll take it. I like Zeke. But this one I like, but I don't know if I'd actually pick it because Christian McCaffrey is just a god. So you never want to bet against Christian McCaffrey. Let's see down here. We're going to go ahead and go with, I didn't feel super confident in that. I like James Conner. I like this one I think is going to get canceled. I didn't really like that one. I liked Allen. I didn't really like this one. Didn't really like this one. I liked Ridley. I liked Boyd, but not ultra confident in. I liked Andrews, but not ultra confident in. I like Sanders, but not ultra confident in. I like Bell a lot. I liked marking him to destroy Philip Lindsay. I liked, let's see. No, I didn't really feel confident in this one. I already bet on Hunt, so I'm not going to do that again. I liked Rodgers. I liked Tyrod. Henry. Keep going. Sorry, guys, if this is like a bit of a boredom here of me just clicking around. I hope you guys have enjoyed thus far. I didn't really feel super confident in these. These are ones where you're going to have to wait for me. I'm going to go ahead and not take Saquon yet. I'm going to go ahead and go with Gallup. I'm going to go with Woods. I'm going to go with Mr. Higbee. I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb. And that's all she wrote. So now we're going to go ahead and put our bets in. So how many are we taking here? There's 16. So you can bet as much money as you want on these picks. These are the picks that I'm actually going to take. So I'm not going to put in how much money I'm going to be betting on each of these things. But I don't bet a shit ton. I don't bet like $50 a matchup. But I do bet enough to make it interesting. And Overlay DFS makes DFS interesting. So please make sure that you check it out. I promise you guys, and I assure you, I'm going to take all these picks and I will post it on Twitter. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, follow me at NotoriousFNTSY. I love each and every single one of you guys. And I can't wait to see you guys in another video. Have a great Sunday. Let's eat today. I love you all. OverlayDFS.com. Link down below in the description.